What's up, guys? Anthony here with Empire Music and EmpireMusicOnline.com. And today I'm showing you the GS Mini E Koa bass from Taylor Guitars. We know Taylor is one of the premier acoustic guitar manufacturers in the world, our #1 selling brand here in the shop. And we love working with those guys. Well, they make a super cool bass, and those in the know and out there in bass world may have seen Mono Neon, the great Mono Neon, who's just a constant source of inspiration for all of us, I'm sure. They're doing like an acoustic session with some of the Snarky Puppy and or Ghost Note guys playing one of these things. I don't know if it was a Koa one, but he was playing one of these. So these are kind of making their round as far as everyone kind of being interested in them. I own a standard version of this. I love it. I'll explain why in a second. So quick spec rundown on it. So in some of my recent videos, we've talked about short scale basses being 30 inches from nut to bridge. This guy's 23.5, so it's super short scale. And you need specific strings to put on this. It comes with them. That's what you always have to use. So you're married to these strings. They're made by D'Addario. It's like a nylon core string with the bronze wrap on it. So they're really slinky feeling. It take a little bit of getting used to, but they feel really good. And once you make the quick adjustment to it, this thing's just an absolute blast to play. So solid Koa top on it, layered Koa back and sides, ebony bridge, ebony fretboard. That's essentially it from an acoustic perspective. It has a tuner built into it and an ESB preamp in it. So that's like, it just has a tone and a volume. What I was playing in the intro there, we were just using the mic. I will show you what it sounds like through an amp, which is really cool. There's a lot of reasons that this bass, you need to buy one. If you're a bass player or anybody that wants to get into playing bass, or if you're a seasoned player, these things are awesome to have. So first and foremost, we talk about the size of it. It's so small. It's a great travel bass, travel guitar. I took one on vacation on a cruise last year, and man, it fit right on my back. I was able to play it out on the balcony. I was able to play it in the room. It's not super loud. It didn't bother anyone, or at least not that anyone said. Maybe my playing wasn't too bad either, I hope, or it was. But just from you go to a campfire or you go outside and everyone can take their acoustic guitars and play. And as a bass player, I would always be jealous of that. It's like, what do? You grab an acoustic guitar and you play a little bit of some bass lines on it. It's never that much fun though. So finally now you have something that you can take with you out and jam outside. It's just a super portable instrument and gives you a pretty decent sound out of it. So from a travel perspective, fantastic. Practice anywhere. I love taking this to gigs, even though I'm not going to use it on a gig or on all gigs, but just to be able to warm up backstage, you can kind of find a corner and get a little bit of sound reflection off of that and kind of amplify it that way, just to warm your fingers up. It's just nice to have something in your hand and to be able to take it in places that you normally wouldn't be able to hear yourself playing bass. So from that perspective, it's great. One other sort of element that I found that very useful is I have this sitting around my apartment. I'm trying to figure out how to play something on, say, my P bass or a J bass or something. And it's it's hard to get under my hand. It's something that I'm playing low down here. It's fast. It has like a weird shift in it. The fingering's difficult for me. This is a really nice tool to get something kind of complex under your hands, because the stretch, even for someone that's been playing bass for almost 30 years, it just feels good to have. You can really stretch. I mean, you can get big old chords no problem, you know, or major chord with a 9 on there. You can stretch it. You can't play that on a regular bass, or at least I can't. But I remember an exercise that I use all the time to warm up. It's just like a major arpeggio and a triad on top. That thing, but I'm moving it chromatically. And I remember struggling to get this under my hands on my normal electric bass. And with this, the stretch was so easy. If I played it right. But then like getting faster with it. I remember like figuring that out on here and being able to apply that to like my longer scale instrument with no problem. So it's a great practice tool for all of those reasons. You could play it anywhere. There's certain things on here that are just easier to play. And the other big thing is sonically what it adds. So you have a bunch of electric basses and you have your P bass sound, your J bass sound, your active bass sound, your 5, your 6 string, all that stuff. What you don't have sometimes, and if you're not an upright player, is that kind of uprightish sort of sound. This can give that to you. It's not an upright. It's never going to sound exactly like it. But if you need something to kind of emulate that a little bit, this is a great tool. So in the intro, we played it just through this mic. One nice thing about it, dynamically, like with a lot of basses that I always pay a lot of attention to when I review them or when I'm demoing them, how does it react to you, to what you give it? So right over the sound hole, we'll just play it in the typical position. You can hear, like when I dig, you get that snappiness. When you don't, it rounds out. Just basic principles of attacking an instrument. So we play up further and we get that rounder, more uprightish, quote unquote, kind of sound. And we go back to the bridge. I find myself playing back there the most. I think it's the loudest point because you have so much mid-range out of that tighter string. And it feels the most like an electric, like a normal electric bass at that point, because here you can see how bouncy that string is. As I was just saying in my short scale video for, I think it was a Jag or a Mustang bass, is that absorbs so much of your attack when you have a softer string and a shorter scale length. Back here where it's a little bit tighter, you can just hear me raking across that. You can just see it visually, how much that grabs and how much less that grabs here. So I find myself playing mostly really kind of fly around on the thing. Now, when I plug it in though, things kind of change. So, when you want to mute the instrument, you just push this little tuner button here in. So it's out now, it's gonna be going through an amp you're live. On, you see the tuner kind of lights up on there. It's in tune, great. Did something right today. And then you have a tone and a volume. I generally roll tone back on this thing pretty good. You'll hear when I have it up how kind of snappy it gets. It's not my favorite like set of tone controls on there, or it's not like, there's some shortcomings to it plugged in, so you have to kind of know how to focus it in the right way. So generally rolling some tone off kind of helps. It can be a little bit brittle on the top end, at least for my liking. You might dig it. So, and volume all the way up, sometimes a no-no because you can get a little bit of feedback from it. So I have volume on like 70. I have tone actually back at like 25. Check it out. Just straight over the sound hole. You good? Sound good? Cool. moving up though, this is where my favorite tone out of it plugged in is up here. We really start to emulate kind of that upright. And then back by the bridge, obviously we get that like tighter, kind of more focused sound, even plugged in. So, this is the GS Mini E Koa bass from Taylor Guitars. Absolute blast to play. As you can see, a ton of different tones you can pull out of it, whether you're running acoustic or electric. And it's really something nice to kind of add into your arsenal if you're looking to get something that could get close to an upright-ish kind of sound, or that cool acoustic bass that might just fit perfect in the mix, in the right track. These things are fun, and like they're just really kind of inspiring to play. You find yourself playing a few things that you might not have otherwise played on your normal electric bass, and they're ultra comfortable, ultra portable. So Anthony at Empire Music, empiremusiconline.com. You can email me directly, which would be everything that I just said, Anthony at empiremusiconline.com. That's the email address. I'll answer any questions that you have. Check us out online, which is empiremusiconline.com. I've said this now 3 or 4 times for this outro. We'll see you around. Thanks.